Good morning, everyone. The Atlantic hurricane season is heating up, and all eyes are now on Invest 97L, a new tropical wave that's just emerged off Africa's west coast. This isn't just another blip. Early signs of organization make it a system worth watching closely. Invest means the National Hurricane Center is running advanced models and gathering detailed satellite data, signaling real development potential. This wave is a classic long-track system forming in the main development region, where many of the Atlantic's most powerful storms are born. As we move deeper into August, warm ocean waters and favorable conditions mean Invest 97L could be the season's first major player. Our job track its every move and keep you informed with clear, accurate updates. Why are forecasters so focused on Invest 97L? The answer lies in a combination of science, experience, and a deep respect for the power of nature. When meteorologists see a system like this, their training and instincts tell them to pay close attention. Invest 97L has quickly become the center of attention in weather offices across the Atlantic basin. There are two main reasons for this heightened alert: the system's internal structure and the environment it's moving into. The tropical wave is already showing signs of organization, with bands of thunderstorms wrapping around a developing center. This is often an early indicator that a storm could strengthen rapidly. The National Hurricane Center has taken notice, assigning Invest 97L a 50 to 60% chance of development in the next 48 hours. That probability jumps to an impressive 90% over the next week, a strong signal that this system is likely to become a named storm. Such high odds are rare and reflect a high level of confidence among experts. Computer models from around the world are in remarkable agreement. They show that the conditions ahead, both in the atmosphere and the ocean, are lining up perfectly for the system to intensify. Many models predict that Invest 97L could soon be upgraded to Tropical Storm Erin, possibly even before it reaches the Caribbean. The Atlantic is primed for storm development right now. Sea surface temperatures are well above average, providing plenty of fuel for any developing system. The air is moist, which helps thunderstorms grow, and wind shear, the change in wind speed and direction with height, is low, allowing the storm to organize without being torn apart. When the National Hurricane Center highlights a 90% chance of development, it's a clear call for everyone in the region to pay attention. Such a high probability is unusual, and means that forecasters are seeing all the right ingredients coming together for a potentially significant storm. Of course, a high chance of development doesn't guarantee a hurricane will make landfall, but it does mean that a significant weather system is brewing, and its future path and strength are being watched closely. Even if it stays out at sea, it could still bring rough surf, heavy rain, or strong winds to nearby islands or coastlines. That's why now is the perfect time to review your hurricane preparedness plans. Make sure you have supplies, know your evacuation routes, and stay tuned to official updates. Taking action early can make all the difference if the storm does head your way. The quiet part of the hurricane season appears to be over. With conditions so favorable, we could be entering a much more active period. Stay alert, stay prepared, and keep an eye on the forecasts as Invest 97L continues to develop. Let's take a closer look at Invest 97L, one of the most closely watched tropical disturbances in the Atlantic right now. The big question on everyone's mind: where exactly is this system, and what path is it likely to take over the coming days? Meteorologists and weather enthusiasts alike are tracking its every move, analyzing new data as it comes in. The projected path is a hot topic, with models updating frequently as new satellite and surface observations are fed in. As of August 11th, Invest 97L is positioned just to the east of the Cabo Verde Islands, a cluster of islands off the west coast of Africa. The system is currently packing sustained winds near 35 miles per hour, which is just below the threshold for a tropical storm. This means it's still classified as a tropical disturbance, but it's showing signs of strengthening. Recent satellite imagery reveals a growing cluster of thunderstorms and a noticeable rotation at the center of the system. These are classic signs that Invest 97L is becoming more organized, and forecasters are watching for further development that could signal the birth of a new tropical cyclone. Most computer models are in agreement that Invest 97L will continue on a steady westward track, moving at a pace of about 15 to 20 miles per hour. This movement is being guided by a strong area of high pressure to the north, which acts like a steering wheel for tropical systems in this part of the Atlantic. In the short term, the system is expected to pass very close to, or even directly over, the southern Cabo Verde Islands. This interaction with land could temporarily disrupt its structure, as the islands may interfere with the system's circulation and limit its ability to strengthen for a brief period. Residents of the islands are preparing for gusty winds, heavy rainfall, and choppy seas as Invest 97L makes its closest approach. While the system isn't expected to be a full-fledged storm just yet, even a strong disturbance can bring hazardous conditions to these vulnerable islands. Once Invest 97L clears the islands, it will enter a vast stretch of the open Atlantic, where sea surface temperatures are warm and atmospheric conditions could become more favorable for development. This is the time when many tropical systems begin to rapidly intensify, drawing energy from the warm ocean waters beneath them. By the middle of the week, forecasters say there's a good chance Invest 97L will be upgraded to a tropical depression, or even earn the name Tropical Storm Erin if it reaches the necessary wind speeds. The projected path takes it westward toward the central Atlantic, but there's still some uncertainty about its exact track. The future strength of Invest 97L will play a big role in determining its path. If it becomes a stronger storm, it may start to curve northward, following the edge of the high-pressure system. If it stays weaker, it could continue west, potentially threatening the Caribbean in the days ahead. For now, meteorologists are keeping a close eye on every new update, looking for clues about how Invest 97L will evolve. The next few days will be critical in determining whether this system becomes a significant threat or simply fizzles out over the open Atlantic. To truly grasp the potential of Invest 97L, it's important to look back at what happened with Invest 96L, its recent predecessor. Both systems started their journey as tropical waves rolling off the coast of Africa, but their stories quickly diverged. By comparing these two systems, we can better understand why 97L is drawing so much attention from meteorologists and weather enthusiasts alike. Invest 96L faced a major obstacle almost immediately, a thick layer of dry Saharan air known as the Saharan air layer. This dry air is notorious for sapping the moisture out of developing storms, making it nearly impossible for thunderstorms to persist. As a result, 96L lost its structure and organization, with its thunderstorms fading away as it moved westward across the Atlantic. In contrast, Invest 97L is taking a much more favorable route. Instead of moving directly into the path of the Saharan dust, 97L is tracking farther south, where the air is much moister and more supportive of storm development. This southern track allows it to avoid the dry, suppressive environment that doomed 96L, giving it a much better chance to organize and strengthen. Another key difference is the temperature of the ocean waters beneath each system. 97L is moving over a stretch of the Atlantic, where sea surface temperatures are especially warm, well above the threshold needed for tropical development. Warm water acts as high-octane fuel for these systems, providing the energy needed for thunderstorms to grow and organize. This is a crucial advantage that 97L has over its predecessor. To put it simply, 96L was like a car running out of gas in the middle of a barren desert, struggling to keep going with nothing to fuel it. On the other hand, 97L is cruising along a lush, green highway with a full tank and ideal conditions all around. The difference in their environments couldn't be more stark. Even a few hundred miles difference in latitude can make or break a tropical system. That small shift can mean the difference between running into hostile, dry air or staying in a nurturing, moist environment. For 97L, this southern route is proving to be a game changer, keeping it away from the hazards that weakened 96L. With its southern track, abundant moisture, and access to warm ocean waters, 97L stands out as a system with real potential. These factors combine to create a much more favorable environment for development, making 97L a system that forecasters are watching very closely as it continues its journey across the Atlantic. Not all tropical waves are created equal. While 96L faded away, 97L has all the right ingredients, moist air, warm water, and a favorable path, to become something much more significant. As it moves forward, it's a reminder of how small differences in environment can have a huge impact on a storm's future. The Cabo Verde Islands are first in line for impacts from Invest 97L. The system is expected to bring heavy rain and gusty winds, regardless of whether it's officially a tropical storm. Flash flooding and mudslides are possible, especially in mountainous areas. Even if the center passes south, outer bands will affect the islands. Land interaction could briefly slow the storm's development, but it's likely a temporary setback. Residents should prepare for power outages and travel disruptions. This is a serious event for Cabo Verde and a reminder that impacts can begin far from the Americas. Once past Cabo Verde, Invest 97L faces a long journey over some of the Atlantic's warmest waters. Ocean temperatures are well above the threshold for storm development, providing ample fuel. Wind shear is expected to relax, allowing the system to strengthen and organize. 5 to 7 days over these ideal conditions could mean rapid intensification. Stronger storms often curve north, weaker ones continue west into the Caribbean. How much 97L strengthens in the coming days will shape its long-term threat. Forecasters are watching for signs of a hurricane as it nears the Lesser Antilles. The next week is critical for its development and track. Invest 97L is part of a broader, active 2025 hurricane season. The peak runs from mid-August to mid-October, with September 10th as the statistical high point. NOAA predicts an above-average season, thanks to warm Atlantic waters and favorable atmospheric patterns. 97L's early development fits this forecast and more systems are lining up behind it. The next named storm will be Erin, likely forming ahead of the average pace. This is just the start. Expect more waves and storms in the coming weeks. The Atlantic is waking up and vigilance is key. Now's the time to stay prepared as the season shifts into high gear. As 97L moves west, you'll see dramatic long-range model maps online, but take them with caution. Forecasting a storm's exact path 2 weeks out is nearly impossible. Small changes now can mean big differences later. That's why the official forecast cone only extends 5 days. Focus on National Hurricane Center updates, not single extreme model runs. Models shift with new data, so trends matter more than any one prediction. We know a storm is likely to form and move west, but specifics are still uncertain. Anyone from the Lesser Antilles to the U.S. East and Gulf coasts should stay alert. We'll have a clearer picture once the storm forms, and we can track it for a few days. With 97L reminding us that hurricane season is here, now's the time to review your preparedness. Have a plan, know your evacuation zone and routes. Build a kit with food, water, first aid, flashlights, batteries, and important documents. Don't forget medications and pet supplies. In Florida, essential supplies are now tax-free. Stock up early. Prepare your home, trim trees, secure windows, and clear gutters. Small actions now can prevent big problems later. Stay informed with trusted sources like the National Hurricane Center and local officials. Have multiple ways to receive warnings: apps, TV, and weather radio. Being prepared means being empowered, not scared, as we track 97L and the storms to come.